The newest AI model story is no longer just about which chatbot tops a leaderboard. In late July 2026, the more useful question is how new models change the economics and design of real work. Official announcements from OpenAI and Google point in three directions: more intelligence per unit of cost, agents that keep context across longer jobs, and models that reach beyond a chat window into browsers, voice systems, research environments, and robots. This episode focuses on GPT-5.6, Gemini Robotics ER2, and the latest Gemini product updates. The goal is not to declare one universal winner. It is to understand what each development could mean for people building reliable workflows. Start with GPT-5.6. OpenAI describes it as combining frontier intelligence with greater efficiency across models, inference, and agentic workflows. The practical implication is that capability and operating cost have to be evaluated together. A model that solves a difficult task but consumes an unsustainable budget may not be useful at scale. OpenAI also announced lower pricing for its GPT-5.6 Luna and Terra tiers, presenting them as options for enterprises deploying larger volumes of AI work. Pricing can change, so teams should verify the current API page before budgeting. The durable lesson is to measure cost per completed outcome, not merely cost per token or performance on a single prompt. GPT-5.6 also highlights how agent configuration can matter as much as the base model. OpenAI reported that retaining reasoning and enabling compaction substantially improved its RKGI-3 results. That is a vendor-reported benchmark result, not a guarantee for every business task, but the engineering lesson is useful. Long-running agents need a deliberate memory strategy. They must preserve important decisions, compress older context, recover from interruptions, and know when to ask for clarification. If you evaluate a new model only through isolated prompts, you may miss the behavior that appears during a 20-step workflow. Test the complete system, including tools, context management, retries, logging, and human review. For everyday knowledge work, GPT-5.6 therefore looks less like a magical replacement for a team and more like a stronger engine for well-designed processes. A useful pilot would choose one bounded workflow, such as turning meeting notes into decisions and assigned actions, researching a customer question with cited sources, or checking a document against a policy. Record accuracy, completion time, intervention rate, and cost. Compare those results with the existing process. The newest model should earn its place through measurable improvement. If a cheaper tier handles routine classification and a stronger tier handles ambiguous reasoning, routing between models may provide better value than sending every task to the most expensive option. Google's Gemini Robotics ER2 moves the discussion into physical environments. Google's announcement introduces two robots, Duo and Apollo, as demonstrations of the new robotics system. Robotics models face constraints that ordinary chat systems can avoid. Objects have weight, spaces contain people, actions take time, and errors can damage equipment. That makes perception, planning, and safe execution inseparable. The immediate relevance for most office teams is not that a humanoid robot will arrive tomorrow. It is that multimodal agent design is expanding from understanding text and images toward deciding and acting in the physical world. Every additional action channel increases both potential value and the need for controls. A sensible way to evaluate robotics announcements is to separate demonstrations from deployment readiness. Ask what hardware was used, which environments were tested, how often tasks succeeded, how failures were handled, and what supervision remained in the loop. Also ask whether the system can generalize beyond rehearsed settings. A polished demonstration is evidence of progress, but it is not the same as reliable operation in a crowded warehouse, hospital, laboratory, or home. For organizations exploring physical automation, the first step is often a constrained task with clear boundaries and an emergency stop, not a general-purpose robot with permission to improvise everywhere. The Gemini updates around Chrome and Mac OS reveal another direction. AI is moving closer to the interfaces where work already happens. Google announced Gemini Spark integration with Chrome and new natural language capabilities for Gemini on Mac OS. The precise availability and feature set may vary by account, region, device, or release channel, so users should check the current product documentation. Strategically, however, the direction is clear. When an assistant can work alongside the browser and operating system, it can reduce copying between apps and help connect research, writing, and routine actions. The trade-off is that broader access also creates a larger privacy and permission surface. Before enabling an operating system or browser agent, review what it can read, what it can change, and when it must ask for confirmation. Use separate permissions for low-risk reading and high-impact actions. A model may be allowed to summarize a web page but not submit a form, send a message, purchase a product, or delete a file without approval. Keep logs that show which tool acted and why. These controls are not signs that the model is weak. They are normal operational design. The more capable the model becomes, the more important it is to make authority explicit rather than assuming intelligence automatically produces good judgment. Two other official announcements show how specialized deployment is evolving. OpenAI described GPT-Realtime, supporting a multilingual, always-available retail agent built by Avatarin for Yamada Denki. OpenAI reported 30,000 users in 2 weeks and 92% positive survey responses. Those are company-reported results from one deployment, so they should not be treated as universal benchmarks. OpenAI also announced free access to advanced ChatGPT models for 100,000 academic researchers. Together, these examples suggest that model value increasingly depends on the surrounding product: latency for voice, domain context for support, governance for institutions, and collaboration tools for research. So how should you respond to the newest models? First, choose a real outcome rather than a vague goal to use more AI. Second, test with representative data, including difficult and sensitive cases. Third, compare at least 2 model or tier options and include the full cost of retries and human review. Fourth, define permissions before connecting tools. Fifth, preserve evidence: prompts, sources, outputs, decisions, and failure logs. Finally, keep the rollout reversible. GPT-5.6, Gemini Robotics ER2, and the latest Gemini integrations show meaningful progress, but the winning model is the one that performs your task reliably within your budget and risk limits. Treat announcements as a shortlist for testing, not a substitute for testing.